All right. So today we are very fortunate to have Dan from Sendoso. He is the CMO. Dan, welcome to the Show Me the Data podcast.
Thanks so much, Alex. I'm super excited to be here. Congratulations on the show as well.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. We're very excited. So today, Dan, we are going to dig into your campaign that you ran called Project Thaw. And I guess just to provide a little bit of context, this is, we're in the middle of, or the beginning of July, but we're looking back to kind of March when COVID hit. And maybe you can elaborate on what the goal of the campaign was for Project Thaw.
Sure. So Project Thaw was it was born out of the need to really align with our sales team and help them in any way possible to thaw out the pipeline that we had seen freeze based on COVID. And from talking to a bunch of different marketers over the past few months, it's been pretty common from basically March, April, and May for companies to have somewhat stopped spending or stopped making decisions on future and just focused on the right now. And this was really designed to get our pipeline that was frozen as a result of that to take action. And quite frankly, to take action, not only in terms of being a customer, but also just letting us know that we're not even in the running. Because that's the most important thing for a sales team is to know what's going on with a deal. And that was really the goal there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's something to be said too from a product perspective, and we should probably not glaze over this part, but prior to that point, Sendoso was primarily sending it to corporate offices. And so work from home actually had a big impact on your ability from a marketing perspective to be able to engage with accounts. Maybe touch a little bit on how the product team was able to turn that around.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the most fortunate things to come out of COVID was within a week of a lot of offices deciding to move their employees remotely. Our product team basically came up with a concept of a address confirmation where an offer is sent out to the intended recipient for them to tell us where they want the gift or the direct mail or the swag sent. And in a way that does not capture their data forever. So particularly here in the United States, people really do value the difference between B2B and B2C lives. And so the address confirmation basically goes into our system, allows us to ship, and then it's deleted. So no one sees it other than our system. And it's been very successful.
That's awesome. So we know from a high level, as things started to shift, the goal was to help unthaw accounts, whether it was to get to a yes or a no. So ultimately sales wasn't just sitting in limbo. Outside of that, touch on kind of the three main aspects that you were looking to accomplish as you set out with Project Unthaw.
Yes, I mean, the first, being just like actually unthawing the accounts straight up. Secondarily, pipeline acceleration. So we really wanted to see deals moving forward, the ones that were actually still engaged with us. We wanted obviously to selfishly get some net new ARR to pay the bills. And then, as we talked about a little bit earlier, that purchase, no purchase decision so that we could have a really clear view of our pipeline and no ambiguity there.
Absolutely. And so walk us through the number of accounts that you were looking to target. How did you go about selecting them, and what did that criteria look like for you?
Yeah, so we had a universe of accounts that we knew were frozen, either because they were unresponsive or the account executive was actually able to hear from the prospect who had told them such. And we narrowed it down to 107 accounts. And that was really through a tiering structure that we have. So our tier 1 and tier 2 accounts are our best ICPs from a successful customer standpoint and the ability for us to close them. And we really went with those as the baseline. Anything that was outside of state or of tier 1 and 2, we really made a secondary priority and really asked the account executives to nominate the best quality accounts that they could, that would have the best success, not only in terms of traditional close rates, but also if they were to become a customer.
And just so from a sales and marketing alignment perspective, You mentioned sales having some say in accounts that they thought maybe deserved to be in that list that weren't initially. What type of autonomy did the sales team have in terms of engaging with those accounts from a direct mail perspective specifically? Were they the ones who were out sending the gift, or was that a marketing-led initiative?
This particular campaign was a marketing-led initiative. So we have what I call prescriptive sending and free sending. And this was prescriptive, meaning that we had a campaign in mind. We had a set amount of dollars that we wanted to spend that we had worked on with our CRO, and it was a nomination process. We also have campaigns for them that are free sending, where we set up a ton of different touches so that they can reach out to their accounts on the regular as they see fit.
And within the accounts, and as you start to think about engaging with them with direct mail pieces, were you engaging with all of the stakeholders involved, or were there only specific individuals that had been identified that would receive or ultimately receive the gift?
Yeah, so here it was really like three different areas that we were focused on, and that was either the decision maker, the person that was waiting to sign the thing, the champion, the person that they might have been talking to on the regular, the person in there that's basically selling the deal for our account executives, um, or an exec sponsor that may have been sponsoring the deal on the prospect side.
And so, and this is always interesting with direct mail campaigns and the creativity around them, because oftentimes I think just from the success stories that we've heard, people assume it's sending socks with the logo on it or something that's just, you get that in their hand and instantly they're going to want to take a meeting. Walk us through what you were actually sending to the prospect or to the accounts or prospects that you had identified.
Yeah, so in this particular instance, we really wanted to surprise and delight the prospect, but we also wanted them to get something from us that showed value and something that would make them respond. And we decided on Sendoso branded fortune cookies. And within the fortune cookie, you open it up and it has an ROI metric from one of our customers.
Mm.
And really, when you look at COVID and you look at the reasons that people are making purchasing decisions right now, it's because it's on technology and tactics that will generate revenue and help them stand out from their competitors. And we thought that was one of the best ways to showcase that is a surprise and delight. This is an example of something that you can send. And by the way, like, there's ROI metrics here, and you're more than welcome to call these customers of ours, and they'll verify it for you. And it resonated really well, and I'm happy that we did it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when I heard that, that creativity is, I think, what's often missed when you think about gifting, right? And coming back to
Absolutely.
that socks example, the sock isn't going to actually compel someone to act.
Yeah,
And so creativity is kind of half the battle when you think about corporate gifting or direct mail campaigns.
exactly. Yeah.
Now, from a strategy perspective, we focused a lot on the gifting apps or the direct mail aspect of things. Um, was there any other channels or air cover that you're providing to the AEs across those accounts?
Absolutely. So, since it was a target account approach, we had digital advertising running in the background through one of our partners, Terminus. So we selected those accounts, we selected the personas, we had that running. We also had audience matches via social as well. And then the other touches were more one-to-one via the AEs. So we had templates set up for them in their sales engagement platform that they prefer, which is Groove, as well as phone and social that they were running as well.
And would this be, so we're talking about kind of an account centric ABM campaign to re-engage people that are already aware of Sendoso. Would that be a similar approach to how you would do it for net new as well?
Yeah, so I mean, it's similar in terms of the fact that you really want to get your brand out there, the fact that you want to, obviously, if an SDR or an AE is running some sort of engagement play through a sales engagement platform, they're going to need to see digital air cover. It usually takes anyone between 12, 15, maybe even 20 impressions before they actually have the recall and the memory to act on something. And it's very similar. The difference between like a very top of funnel where you don't have any engagement with a target account and one here where you're actually trying to thaw pipeline is that we already had a relationship and knowledge of their use case, who they are as a person, who they are as a company. And, the AE portion of this could be a lot more bespoke and actually like basically curtailed to them so that they could have a meaningful conversation and a meaningful follow-up that's a lot different than top of funnel.
Yep. No, that makes sense. And so as part of it, we touched a little bit from a product perspective, and with people working from home, there was a change in just being able to send a mail piece or a gift to an office. So walk us through the conversion rates that you saw. So the first part of this, I imagine, is people have to actually accept and be willing to share their details with you, and then we can kind of work on from there.
Yeah. So, the first metric that we look at is how many people actually confirmed their address to receive these fortune cookies. And that was a 76% confirmation rate, which was amazing.
Very high, yeah.
And we were happy with that, obviously. We had 8 closed won deals for a total of 180K in ARR. The beauty of a re-engagement campaign like this is it's still growing. Like I'm looking at my notes right now, and it was a lower amount from when I checked this morning. So it's the gift that keeps on giving. Within those 107 accounts or opportunities, we had 156 stage movements so far, meaning that they're moving through the sales cycle. And then for spending $44,000, basically, we've had a 45x return on that campaign investment. So when you kind of think about that math, like obviously there's a CAC that we're trying to follow as a company, but when something's frozen and you can add an additional $500 to get a go, no-go decision, that's pretty meaningful, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And in terms of kind of your initial, you talked about setting the budget, working with the CRO to begin with. Was this in line with your projections and what you had anticipated, or did this blow that out of the water?
With COVID and the fact that address confirmation was a new concept for us, we went in with certain expectations, and I think we were more expecting, if we could 4, 5, 6x our return on investment, we'd be happy. If we could get a confirmation rate of like, I don't know, 18 to 25%, we'd be happy. So this definitely blew our expectations right out of the water.
That's awesome. It's always good to over deliver
Exactly.
based on those projections, and especially in times when things are really uncertain.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So, and maybe just in ending and going forward, when you think about gifting throughout the funnel and being a platform that enables that, where is it most valuable for people to implement to generate that ROI? So when you're sending out that fortune cookie and saying, hey, here's the use case that you could have, and I understand that could be different, but where do you see the most success for people that are looking to implement a direct mail or gifting campaign?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's highly contingent upon the marketing, sales, and customer success strategy. So our philosophy at Sendoso and what a sending platform is that it should allow for one-to-one, one-to-few, or one-to-many sending use cases. So one-to-many could be on the SDR side where you're running an outreach cadence and there's an offer in there, whether it's an e-gift or some sort of send that's really warming people up early as part of the relationship building. The one-to-few could be, if let's say we have a commercial to SDR who's working a set of 50 accounts and they want to have 5 accounts that get a higher allotment of sending, and maybe they're actually going and researching the company and doing some sort of bespoke direct mail or gift, or a one-to-one where they're actually going and researching and then doing an Amazon send to be super in line with like a handwritten note and maybe like a picture of someone's favorite beach or something. And the same goes for sales as well, right? So sales traditionally is not spending all of their day generating pipelines. So we're looking at the one-to-few and the one-to-one cases there. And then with customer success, traditionally that's much more, you could be automated with onboarding. You could be doing onboarding packages. You could be doing renewal sends. You could be surprising and delighting your advocates by personally gifting them, or running a swag store where they get to choose swag for doing certain things for you. So the use cases are pretty far and wide across the entire customer lifecycle.
Awesome. Well, Dan, I appreciate you coming on and sharing the Project Thaw campaign and the results that you were able to see. If people want to connect with you and learn more about Sendoso, or learn more about you personally, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so for Sendoso, just go to sendoso.com. And for me, I'm on LinkedIn, Daniel Frohnen, and I'm always happy to connect. I'm always happy to share a good conversation, and yeah, let's connect.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed another unfluffy episode of the Show Me the Data podcast. If you want to become part of our community with other demand gen leaders and get exclusive access to Q&As with the guests we have on the show, click the link in the description of the podcast.